Alright, we are back in the layer of the... Wait, that's a freaking seagull. Hold on. The goose, there we go! It is time for...
What are you going to do when I take that paneling down?
You're not allowed to.
Oh.
That's got to stay up. What do you think, guys? That's got to stay, right?
No.
It has to. At least like a square of it so that we can do that every
I'll
time.
leave the gooses around the switch.
Perfect. Alright, now we're talking be like a 1x1 square. What are we here for today?
RC Aftermath.
Alright. Everybody always wants the aftermath. Everybody's got to want the RC aftermath, right? So, do we start with the car that everybody's talking about since it's the least beat up?
Nope.
No? Alright.
Start with what we ran first.
Start with what we ran first. Alright. That'd be this one. Adam. Let's talk about the 727 Team Heat car.
Ignore the fact it's missing tires. We borrowed those later on. Not too happy with the way I drove, but the car held up great. The first thing that took me out was my motor came unplugged. So that was a pretty rookie mistake. We put a zip tie around that plug so that would never ever happen again and fix that problem. And then the next thing...
So that's what took you out in the heat?
That's what took me out in the heat. Yep, the Consi, I lost a tire. Not even sure how because we torqued them all down, but it came off. So that was actually a pretty quick run. Got a few dents and scratches. We're actually, I'm impressed here. Remember we talked about the pointers are probably going to get ripped off because it's a single layer. There's nothing literally but 3 rivets holding it together. And the pointies stayed on. Curled the ends around a little bit here. It looks like we got some red and some green going on. Some Christmas paint. Overall, the body, I'm impressed. Sides held up pretty good. I mean, there's some scratches and stuff. And now we didn't run as long as I would hope, but if you look real close right here, I mean, it's probably hard to see on the camera, there's a dent there. That's because the back end was actually starting to fold up and go just like it was supposed to. Would it have helped us any? Absolutely not, but it would have looked cool as hell.
And that's what we were there for.
Exactly.
These cars look badass.
Bumper looks good. I think the worst shot I took on this car was to the roof. At one time it was pushed all the way down inside. And as I looked back at the footage today, I think that might have been Cody trying to flip me back over. So.
I did hit you damn hard a couple times trying to get you rolled back over.
Trying to get you rolled back over. We thought with the design being this high up in the back end, and of course as high up in the front end as we were, that we would get rolled a lot in these. We did get rolled a few times in these, but I believe it was definitely more to the we built a lot lighter weight than the rules would let us go. So I bet if we would have added a little bit more weight, it wouldn't have been as much of a factor, considering the Outlaw didn't really get rolled at all, and it was exact same body design. It just weighed 3 pounds more, so damn near 4. But yeah, this car's just perfectly fine. Just got to put the front tires back on it, and it's ready to drive again. So.
Perfect. No changes needed for that one. Runner again.
She'll get run again.
Now we go down to the other end. This is mine. Now I unhooked my body for a reason, so that I can show you some of the damage to the chassis. But we'll start with the body. My pointy, on the other hand, is smushed.
Yep.
The supports that hold my bumper on, oh, that one's still there,
It's still there.
are smushed, ripped off. The bumper is starting to separate. Got a couple broke rivets there.
Sure enough.
Body's curling. Curling.
She split right in these are the weakest spots on every RC car. Is perfectly centered on the front fender and the back. This design body, it protects this a little more, but obviously there's nothing you could do right here at the front. And I bet the other side, if you look, yep, sure enough, she's starting to curl and get ready to go.
Starting to go too.
Yep.
Nose got folded under a little bit. A lot more scratches on mine.
Yep.
So in the heat, what took me out in the heat?
We both went out the exact same time in the heat. I believe we were rolled on top of each other in the corner back there.
No, we both went out real fast in the heat.
Oh, my motor and yeah, something else. We did both go out really fast in the heat. You lasted a long time in the console.
Yeah, I got rolled. I believe I got rolled in the heat also. But back end, that one?
Actually, it's starting to pack just like we hoped right here and right here. And as you can see, we're already hitting people at the top of the trunk lid. So this was just folded right here. But now you've created a second fold up here at the top where you're hitting. So almost a little bit of a ramp effect, it looks like here, with the way the scratches are all going, which would have been to our advantage.
Yeah, so you can actually see it looks like part of it came down where it started to dip here. But overall, this one definitely got run a lot more. I'm pretty happy with how that held up.
Definitely been the Cajun.
Yeah, that's some pretty good hits.
Yep.
Yeah, both sides actually. She's come in a little bit.
I want to start running the gussets from here to here. I believe that's allowed at most places, so I think that would probably keep that from happening a little bit. But I mean, get a shot down the side there. She's got a pretty good dent in the.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little bit of a bow there.
So for this one, a couple new rivets in the bumper.
Yep.
Get the strap put back up.
Probably hit the hood a few times with a hammer and straighten this back to a square.
Yeah, and probably a couple patches on one on each fender.
Yep.
Other than that,
yeah, I'd say both of our national bodies, these are going to be perfect for playing around in the garage, the driveway, the basement, and all that stuff this winter. So.
Absolutely. Now, for my chassis, I have this problem on both cars. Yeah, there she is. This is the one that we fixed.
Yep.
Now, this didn't take me out. I was still driving. If you watch the video, you'll see this tire was laying over a lot farther than this. And I can actually show you on the other cars, well, because they all have this problem.
Yep.
So we went out in the heat right away. This carrier, so right here, where you got this little control arm, and then this is where the axle comes out, and the axle goes through this axle carrier, and that is what broke. So it gives you your suspension travel. She didn't make it. So going back out for the consi, we super glued it back together. We didn't have a spare. Super glued it back together, drilled a hole in each piece, and then put some wire through it to try to hold it up.
Super glue didn't hold, but the wire actually did enough that all you're trying to do is keep this from laying completely over flat. So it definitely worked for that purpose.
Yeah. So, well, I broke a Nerf bar, but anytime I have a brand new car, I break a Nerf bar. So that's just part of it.
Nerf bars and axle carriers were definitely our worst enemy, which Nerf bars aren't going to really do much anyway. It probably would have helped keep your one side from coming in as much as it did, but. Biggest tip I can give you guys, go posi tracking these, because if one tire flips over like that, you're still digging around with one. That's the only reason why I kept going so long in my Outlaw car this time.
And maybe some upgraded parts back there won't be a horrible idea.
Right. Now, our rules did say no aluminum parts. The best thing in the world you can put back there are the upgraded aluminum rear carriers. They work great in the front too for your setting blocks and all that stuff. But we couldn't have any aluminum this round, so could an RPM part have saved us? Possibly.
Fair enough. Let's go down to. Suppose you want to start with mine, huh? All right.
I'm just making them watch the whole damn video is what I want to do.
Yeah. This is my Outlaw car, the 272 Outlaw car.
Biggest upset: Cody's missing both headers. No, they were just cut off.
They're in my cup holder.
On, yeah. So it happens. It's a super easy fix. They're not broken or anything.
Yeah. They got rolled over and they went with it.
Yeah. Front still looks good here, and this all held together just perfect.
A couple little, this is C channel. So.
Yeah, and I was correct. Cody didn't run a skid plate at all on this car, and the front end still stayed right where it's supposed to.
I wasn't worried about that front end moving, and it certainly didn't.
Looks like the halo came loose here.
Minor.
Yep.
The impressive part, and there's somebody out there that wanted to see a picture because he was the one that made the hit.
There she went.
Most of that damage was from one hit. Now, I did hit with it a few times afterwards, but the majority of that fold was from one hit.
Absolutely. So
from a guy that had a friggin' tank, and it was awesome to see the creativity he had into that design.
Right.
Flip that over. We can show it actually what happened up
So
there. And first off, here you go. Okay. This was another broken axle carrier. You can see how far it will actually lay over.
Yeah, it looks like a hovercraft when it's still flying around, because your axle will still turn like this.
Yeah, and it was.
It'll move. Yep, you're still good. It's just once it goes the slider shaft will eventually destroy itself, like I'll show you in a minute. Yeah, so we built basically little frame rails that were holding the bumper up and everything all together, and you can see where it's still attached here. It's just one rivet in the bumper, one rivet up here. It was designed to push up. That stayed straight, so that's what you want. However, this one, we use small rivets on everything. We don't use anything big, but that one did separate, and that basically let the whole trunk go free. So that's why we had it fold in as bad as it did on that side. So
looks pretty cool.
It does. It looks really. It really did not hurt the performance at all. If anything, it helped you because you created more of a ramp back there. But
it looks just the way that you would if you screwed up a big car.
Yep, absolutely. If your frame was rotted out in the back end and came apart, this is what your big car would do. So, mission accomplished. Awesome. Awesome job.
And the one that everybody was talking about down there. Of course, there's a couple negative folks out there that blah, 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 whatever. We'll ignore them. There's always those folks. But
so I also lost a header. I didn't glue mine on. I ran them through and made a an actual little engine block, as you can see in here, and so I snapped them off of one side. Got underneath somebody. Frame obviously didn't move. Front end perfectly fine.
I mean, it's got paint on it.
Oh yeah. Yep. So I definitely made a few hits there.
Some scratches.
Double layer body. She didn't dent. Yeah, I got plenty of scratches going up and down. Broken, and axle also broken, or shaft completely flew apart there. So this tire would, you can see, it's not connected, so it wasn't doing anything. Here's the rest of the carrier that used to be down here, attached there. So that one come apart. This car is Positrack, so it kept driving. To the back end worked great. Flipped a couple people over, including Cody once on accident. Held up, nothing moved. She looks good there. As you can see, that comes right up to the frame.
Obviously, that frame was never going to move.
No, and that was the intentions, but motor and everything ran great. Also broke this side. Shaft is still in. This one was still turning for as long as we could, until the rim actually broke from the inside. As you can see, it's no longer fixed around the nut there, so that tire should not be spinning on its own like that. It should grip. So that's ultimately what took me out there.
Probably a downfall of it being laid over the way that it is. That's a lot of pressure going on that.
On just one tire. And to be honest, if you look at the way these tires wore that fast, and as much as I was spinning and sliding around, I mean, they're both brand new and fresh. So that's a front tire. Obviously, it had no torque or traction on that. That's a rear tire. I was just burning rubber constantly. I had the computer programmed a little hot. I was expecting that track to be a lot stickier than it was. Turns out with the snow falling out of the tree and a few other things, it was slick as could be, and I had way too much power to the rear wheels. I should have toned that down quite a bit. It would have hooked up. Probably could have laid down some harder hits. But overall, I'll probably run my aluminum rims on here next time. I was scared to do that because I figured it would just blow my rear drivetrain to pieces, and I did that with plastic ones anyway, so why not? We're going with the aluminum wheels, and we'll have hardened steel slider shafts and carriers.
Aluminum carriers.
Aluminum carriers, correct.
So, outlaw car. Needs a little bit of love, but
yeah,
everybody loved it. Thank you to everybody that stopped and said hi and
absolutely
took a look at it. That's the reason we do this kind of stuff. Believe it or not, the design wasn't so that we could go out there and win. It was so that it would look cool and people would talk about it, come say hi, all that good stuff.
Good advertisement, and it did just that.
That's what Adam does. He makes shit look cool.
And to all the disbelievers, solid front suspension in the front, hard and bouncy, didn't flip it over. So you can build your RC car up high if you want to. Not going to say everybody won't roll over, but that's not what took us out on this one. It was definitely the rear drivetrain. So
hope you guys enjoyed Blizzard Bash. We sure did.
Cody, we still got more cars to run.
We got more cars to run. We're gonna. I'm sure that there's an event coming up that we can.
Shout out to Sean real quick. Look at this caddy. He built this, and it is absolutely gorgeous. And he had been sending me pictures of it the entire time that he was building it. Look how realistic he got. It was so cool after he started building it. I told him, Sean, bring that thing all the way to Blizzard Bash. I'm gonna buy it from you, and he sure did. He did an awesome job, and keep an eye out. This one will probably be running this winter sometime. That's the goal.
Yeah, we'll find somewhere to run.
Yep. We still have our stock wagon buddies.
Yeah, we didn't run the stock class just because, one, Friday was a long freaking day, and obviously we've got a whole lot of broken chassis. So when we got back to the hotel at like 1:30 in the morning after doing the RC Derby all day and then going to the regular Derby that ran fairly late, and it was just, we decided we'd had enough. A couple broken chassis. It wasn't a matter of just throwing a body on it like we had hoped. So I think that's about it.
That's about it. I covered it.
Damn good time. We will try to get more RC derbies run this winter, so we've got something to put up. I've seen that we've got a decent amount of views on the ones that we have up so far. So I apologize for having to take the sound out of them. Literally the first video I put up, even though I couldn't hardly hear much in it because the cars were so loud and the wind was so loud, and it felt like the camera was really focusing on that, and I couldn't really tell that there was music in the background. As soon as that video went up, within 5 minutes, YouTube had slapped a copyright claim on it, which isn't a big deal. It doesn't hurt me any. It's just not something that I want to have a track record of piling a whole bunch on. So we'll try to remember that for next year when we're going back down to Blizzard Bash. We'll
just bring a whole CD of my band, so I own it. We can have it.
That sounds like a great idea,
You're
actually.
real tired of hearing me after a while. But
Hope you guys enjoyed it. Appreciate you following along, as always.
Get goose.